Hey, how's it going, everybody? We're going to be doing our first fan video, and this one's going to be the rack of lamb that was suggested by Jeffrey Espiritu. Now, we're going to start off with a pomegranate cranberry reduction sauce. First, go ahead, take a bag of cranberries, pour it in a pot of water, add about 3 cups of sugar, get it boiling, and it doesn't matter how much water you put in there because you're going to let it cook down. The more water you put in, the longer it's going to take to cook, but at least cover the cranberries. So go ahead and mix that in, and once you get it boiling a little bit and the cranberries start to burst, go ahead and squeeze 1 fresh lemon in there. You saw me strain the seeds out. Mix it again, and you don't have to strain the seeds out right then and there. I'll show you why. Now, go ahead and take the pomegranate juice. What I did was I crushed 1 pomegranate and poured the juice in there. Now, when you get this jelly consistency, this is why I was saying you don't have to strain the lemon seeds out right then and there, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this off of the fire right now. We're going to let it cool just a little bit, and we're going to pass this through a fine mesh strainer. It's going to take a little while, but what that's going to do is it's going to get all of the chunks out. Now, you can just cook this down until it's super smooth or put it in a blender, but I want the smoothest consistency, so I'm going to push it through a strainer. Now, once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and start with the rack of lambs, get it up to room temperature, and what you're going to do is French the bones. What that means is taking a knife and just scraping along the bones, getting all that fat, the connective tissue and the sinew and all that, get that off of the bones. And that's going to make for a better presentation, and I'm going ahead and I'm switching to my sharper knife here. What you're going to do with the sharper knife, just score the fat. You don't want to cut into the meat if you can help it, just enough to get just under the fat, and let the weight of the knife do all the work. Go ahead and take some kosher salt, heavily season one side, and some freshly ground black pepper. Freshly ground's always better. That stuff that comes in the box is already pre-ground, tastes like wood. Now go ahead and flip the lamb over. This backside, make sure you season that as well, because that's a lot of really good meat, and don't miss out on that. So go ahead, salt, freshly ground pepper, and I'm not putting any garlic on this. You guys will see why. The lamb's got a lot of flavor as it is, but I'm gonna cook it a little different. Now we're gonna take some panko breadcrumbs, put it in the food processor. This is gonna be our crust for the lamb. A little bit of Italian parsley, and I'm sorry, that wasn't the Italian parsley, that was the leaf parsley. Some rosemary and some thyme. Just go ahead, throw that in, blitz it a little bit, just get it mixed a little bit and see if that's the color you want. If you want a little more green in there, add some more parsley. Now, you can use Italian if you want. I was going to use Italian, but I had some green leaf laying around, so I used that. Now, when you get it down to about this consistency, put about 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in there. Blitz it one more time until you see the crumbs starting to stick to the side of the food processor, and you're going to go ahead and stop. Now, in a preheated pan, go ahead and drop some grapeseed oil or any high heat oil, and you're going to sear your lamb for about 2 minutes per side. I sped the video up a little bit just for the sake of time, but go ahead, sear both sides, and what we're gonna do is just flip it over. You see where I scored the meat, it has those little diamond shapes. Now, once you get both sides seared, we're gonna take it out and we're going to brush it with some Dijon mustard. Now, you're not going to taste the mustard when it's fully cooked. This is just going to be a coat for the breadcrumbs. So go ahead and paint this. You only need to paint one side because you're only going to crumb one side of it. Put the breadcrumbs on a plate and go ahead and press the lamb down into the breadcrumbs. Roll it up back and forth and get it nice and covered like that, because that's going to be your crunch for the finished product. It also looks really good for presentation. The green looks great with the cranberry sauce, the green and red for the Christmas theme. This is an excellent Christmas dish. It's something really easy to do, really fun, and it's something you could do to impress family and friends. It's not too expensive either. I mean, rack and lamb is up there in price, but it's not too expensive. Now, in that pan, go ahead and throw a knob of butter in. Knob is between 2 to 3 tablespoons. Some thyme, some rosemary, and you're going to put the lamb back in with the bones facing up. I interlaced the bones so they would stay up, and you're going to cover the bones with aluminum foil. The reason I'm covering with aluminum foil is because that's going to keep them from turning black in the oven. So once you cover them with the foil, go ahead, put them in a 400-degree oven for anywhere between 15 to 25 minutes depending on the doneness. I did 15 minutes because I was going for a medium rare. And you see here the bones did gray a little bit, but they didn't turn completely black. Now I'm going to take this out and let this rest, but while this is resting, we're going to get a little side dish going in. I figured what else can go with this, and nothing goes better with any kind of meat than some seared asparagus. And you have all of that juices and all that fond on the bottom of the pot. Just throw a little bit of salt in there and roll the asparagus around until it's nice and seared and ready to go. Now, after about 10 minutes of resting, I'm going to go ahead and take the lamb. I'm going to slice 2 bones at a time. It's a better presentation and you get a little more meat like that. There are racks of lamb that are bigger than this. If you want to go 1 bone, that's fine. If you want to go 3, that's fine. I personally like to go 2 no matter what the size of the rack of lamb. And you see I cooked that to a perfect medium rare. This is beyond tender. That crust is just flaky and it's got the earthy flavors of the rosemary, the thyme, and it's just delicious. Now, to plate it up, you see how smooth this cranberry pomegranate reduction is. I didn't cook it down all the way. If you cook it down a little more, it'll turn into a jam consistency. And that's what cranberry sauce is pretty much. You just don't put the cranberry or the pomegranate or the lemon in it. Now, I'm just going to take a couple sprigs of the asparagus, interlace the bones of the lamb right here, just for presentation's sake. I made a little mess on the plate. You guys can go ahead and wipe up as you're doing this. I dropped a couple of the fresh pomegranate seeds I left on the side, and that's going to be it, guys. That is your seared lamb roast with the pomegranate cranberry reduction sauce. Great for Christmas, great for a date night, and it will impress anybody you cook it for. A little more asparagus because asparagus is delicious. Thank you guys, and I'll see you all soon.